I'd like to think that it really started mutually, because it was one of the chamber members that initially came to the mayor with some suggestions and some complaints about, the ordinance, which really hadn't been seriously amended in a number of years. And the mayor did suggest that we work together. That process started 3 years ago. But it was a great process, with the city working with the chamber, an honest process.
We had a unique opportunity because we could impanel our own committee. We had 4 individuals who worked pretty tirelessly through that time. But we could work hand in hand and had multiple meetings with the Department of Community Services, Mike obviously leading that group, and Rachel Boone, who was kind of assigned to the task. And we would sort through each section of this ordinance over that time period, asking questions, vetting what might be, and responding to some of the concerns that we had as far as business understanding, business opportunity, and just the process itself, which over time had become pretty cumbersome. Any ordinance, when you change it multiple times, can get very difficult to deal with. And I think the last one was in the early to mid 90s, and we had reached that point with the sign ordinance.
Right. Well, I think one of the goals that the department had from the beginning was to try and maintain the essence of the existing ordinance. We do feel like the sign program that the city has adopted over the years is one of the key elements that has made Carmel a nice place. We don't have a lot of large signs, we don't have a lot of sign clutter, and the community takes a lot of pride in that. Beyond that, we were all ears, really, with the chamber, and I think that if you would go back and look at the document, a lot of things changed, compared to the original.
True. I think that most of Carmel businesses are here because they recognize the value of the community and the opportunity from the demographics. So they recognize, and I think most of them don't want to put a billboard in front of their business. But having said that, they had difficulty understanding what they could have. So it became to the point where we had businesses who said, if I have to hire an attorney to go get my sign, I can't afford to do that. So simplification was on both of our minds as far as what we could do to help make it easier for people to apply for a sign. Any process that involves multiple levels is also difficult. So another thing that we worked on that mutually we agreed upon was in many cases you ought to be able to present your sign to the department having read the materials, which are now simplified because so you can understand them, and allow the department to approve your sign. So instead of having to go through committee after committee and present your case to them, you can now go to an individual at the city, present your materials, and get that approval and go put your sign up. So that streamlined the process considerably through that. The addition of a visual guide, even though terms like monument signs and blade signs are common ones to people with the city and certainly in Mike's world, but not necessarily to businesses. So now there is a guide where you can look up the term, understand what that is, and by the way, here's a picture and some local examples of what that sign would look like. We hope it kind of set a new standard for working with a variety of issues. One of our chamber's goals in the last 3 or 4 years has been to become more involved in issues affecting businesses as they pertain to the city. And the outreach from the city is really helpful because they want to tap business minds.
At least the Department of Community Services, which is the planning and zoning and building, we've tried to reach out to the chamber consistently over the years to help make sure that we don't leave business out of the decision-making process. It really is important to us that we have broad community input, but the business community, I think, gives some credibility to issues when we're able to take that to our plan commission, we're able to take an issue to the city council, and we know that we've worked through issues that the business community would otherwise be concerned about.
I think another aspect of the sign ordinance as Carmel has grown, and that's where business input has grown as well, and I think that's important, is as each new area, whether it was Old Town, Arts and Design District, the area around Old Meridian, Carmel Drive, Rangeline Road, the city had, in an attempt to brand these areas for businesses and for the community, had rules that they added on sign packages specific to those areas. That became exceedingly confusing to business. So now the new sign ordinance eliminates those, so that if you happen to be on Main Street or if you happen to be on Old Meridian, the type of sign relates more to the architectural design of your building, not where you happen to be. That not only simplifies, which again was our number one goal, but also levels the playing field, and that was important to us.